Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emeka Ogwonye. I am the founder of Due Process Advocates, DPA, which has 260,000 active members on Facebook alone, and who have supporters beyond our Facebook membership. In the past 1 week, there has been a global movement, a quest or a demand for the abolition of a special unit of the Nigerian police force known as the Sars. Sars stands for Special Anti-Robbery Squad. This was supposed to mean a special unit of the force which was to tackle the menace of armed robbery and serious crimes in this country, Nigeria. There is no doubt that Nigeria has suffered extraordinarily from the pains and agonies caused by armed robbers, kidnappers, and very serious criminals. There is no doubt that any country would take appropriate steps to tackle such extreme criminality. There is no doubt that the idea behind the SARS must have been some good idea. It must have been aimed at addressing the problems caused by armed robbery. We all know how dangerous these armed robbers are. We all know the number of deaths they've caused in this country. We all know the menace armed robbers have caused. We all understand the need for this country to do something, even drastic, to stop armed robbers. So we understand in that context that there must be a special need for special attention to armed robbery. But over the years, Nigerians have been bedeviled by the activities and atrocities and abuses of human rights caused by the members of the SARS. They have become extraordinary menace, a menace that have left many Nigerians wondering which one is worse. Is it the problems caused by armed robbers or the problems caused by the atrocities of the members of SARS? As the leader of DPA, and someone who'd been involved in so many human rights claims, I have had my own direct encounters with problems caused by the SARS or members of SARS. I can give you a long list of these problems. In one particular case, members of SARS arrested 2 young bankers, took them to their office in Ikeja, and asked both of them actually, to make phone calls to their wives and to tell their wives that their companies had sent them on training in Ibadan, which was all false. The whole goal of getting these gentlemen to lie about their whereabouts was to start the process of disappearing them, because this is what the SARS have done. They take people, they arrest people, they conceal the fact that they are in detention, detaining such people, and then every conceivable evil occurs as a result. So Nigerians and friends of Nigerians over the world have had enough of the menaces of SARS, and they have come out and they began to clamor. For me in DPA, it is something that I wanted to see happen. This is something our members want to see happen. They wanted to see the Nigerian Police Command, the Nigerian government, to look deeply into the activities of the SARS and do something drastic about them. Do something to end the atrocities, the massive abuse of human rights caused or attributable to the members of SARS. I did not know when that was going to happen, but I knew it will ultimately occur. So when last week we began to hear about this massive movement all over Nigeria and beyond, calling for an end to SARS, it was, for me, something I knew was inevitable. Then it became a question for members of DPA what our own stance was going to be on this particular important development. I had had consultations, and I've spoken with members of DPA, and I have sounded them off and sent notices to them, trying to determine what was going to be the role of DPA at this moment when Nigerians want to end SARS. It was inevitable. We decided that DPA would join in the clamor. DPA will join in sending a message to the Nigerian government, and particularly to the Police High Command, particularly to the IG of Police, to say, end SARS now. SARS have to be ended. It is unfortunate that in the effort to fight armed robbers we ended up with a brutal police force that operates worse than Gestapo, that inflicts extraordinary hardship, atrocity, menace on the Nigerian population. As I said, the list is very long, but it's not my intention to begin to identify these lists, because it will seem as if I am accusing any particular officer. It's not my intention. It's not my intention to single any particular officer and accuse him of atrocity. But we know what happened. We know that in December of 2012 into January of 2013, some bodies were found floating on Ezu River in Anambra State. There had not been any comprehensive explanation of what those people are or who those people are. But the rumor, credible rumor has it that these people were victims of Sars in Anambra State. We have seen other instances of Sars activities. I have had a case of a woman who was having a domestic dispute with her husband. Her husband unleashed the Sars on her, and she was arrested and accused of kidnapping in an effort by the woman to visit her young 12-year-old daughter that was snatched by her husband and held away from her. So the issue of Sars just became a weapon in the hands of powerful people. They bribe these officers. They use them to intimidate other people, to abuse rights, to do extreme things, all the way to murder. That has to stop. No country can live with it. Nigeria is bedeviled by so many problems one understands. Problems, agitations, and extreme difficulties coupled with government failure. In such context, it's so easy for any group so strategically positioned as Sars to take advantage and abuse the rights of people. We have had cases. I personally, in 2016, I was arrested by the police command in Abuja. I was detained overnight. And for a few hours, I was placed in general population of inmates, about 40 people in a room. And those people spoke to me. That particular room was the Sars detention center in Abuja. Within a few hours, I heard atrocities that are too compelling for me to even mention here. I heard about people disappeared. I heard about people killed. I heard about efforts to suppress people. I heard about policemen extorting money from relatives of inmates, intimidating them when they come to visit them, and keeping people for months and years in detention, in dungeon, without access to justice. I met those inmates. They requested for my help. Even though I was a detainee for a few hours, I had enough. I was told how the Sars in Abuja, in that unit particularly, found ways to overcome everything. Indeed, sometimes they said, when the IG would come to visit the unit, the officers will take the inmates to different locations and leave the cells looking empty. Probably leave one or two people who had been bludgeoned and forced to confess to crimes they did not commit. It is something terrible. Those men who spoke to me, they wanted me to be their lawyer and to speak for them. Circumstances were so difficult that I couldn't quite speak for all of them. But I think that an opportunity has occurred for me to begin to voice their concerns and to share their feelings with the world, and to do so by joining in the ongoing clamor to end the Sars. The Sars must end. We also have cases in Port Harcourt where the members of Sars will go around searching people, undressing people, checking if they had tattoos on their bodies. Anybody found with that tattoos will be beaten, harassed, intimidated, locked up by members of Sars. We had a case here also last year. DPA members had a case of a man who was kidnapped. He believed he was kidnapped by Sars. An innocent man kidnapped by Sars, taken to a location and asked to go and withdraw money from his bank account and to pay them $500,000. It took a concerted effort by the DPA members calling on all the police commands in 5 states in the western region, western part of Nigeria, before ultimately the man was released. And how was he released? He was blindfolded from point of detention and dumped at Oshodi Bridge by members of Sars. So it's not something personal. It's not something aimed to tarnish any particular officer. We understand the complexities, the full circumstances it would have taken to turn normal person into the brutal member of Sars that we have described. We understand that. We are not here to blame, but we are calling upon the Nigerian government to embark upon a comprehensive reform of the Nigerian police, starting with the abolition of Sars. In abolishing Sars, it doesn't mean that we have forgotten the menaces of armed robbers or the need for Nigeria to be strong and firm in the fight against serious crimes. No. We are hoping for a reform that will lead to replacing the Sars with efficient, well-trained, well-informed, and well-incentivized police officers with proper protocols and proper trainings. We would request a special unit of the force that is charged with something as complex and as difficult as armed robbery, as fighting armed robbery, to require the finest officers, both in training and mental preparedness. One thing that we noticed is that members of the Nigerian police force, especially those given arms to go into the street and shoot people, those have never gone through any mental health evaluation. We would have expected that any officer that is asked to carry guns in Nigeria would go for psychiatric evaluation and to be determined to be psychiatrically fit before he could be left with such responsibility. That doesn't happen. So DPA is joining other parts of the society, other members of the society who have recently called for the abolition of Sars. We are joining them in that effort. We are requesting the IG of police, with due respect, sir, to embark upon a massive reform of the police. Abolish the Sars today. End the Sars today. This is the message of the world. This is the message of Nigerians. Many people are afraid to say this. Nobody knew who could come out and take the risk of speaking against the Sars. But someone has to do it. If I don't do it, who else will do it? DPA members are looking up to me to be able to join in the force. Before I began to make this broadcast, I sampled the opinion of our members. I received a tremendous, massive vote supporting the effort for us to join, to seek the abolition of Sars. So our message to the IG of police, to the deputy IG of police, and to the assistant IG of police, all those high-placed police officers, all the way down to the police commissioners in the various states, ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of Nigeria, in the interest of the citizenry, and in the interest of the police force, the integrity and reputation of the police force, we are asking for an immediate abolition of Sars, complete overhaul of a number of police units, complete change of the Nigerian police force. We understand the predicament of the junior police officers all over the country. And I say this so you will understand that DPA is not against the police. We are for the police. One of the things we wanted to seek was an increase in the salary of police officers, particularly junior police officers. We think that the minimum wage for a Nigerian police officer, the lowest Nigerian police officer, the minimum wage for him should be 150,000 naira a month. If Nigerian police officers, if every Nigerian police officer can receive 150,000 naira a month as his salary, they will not be interested in seeking to extort 20 naira, 100 naira from motorists all over the country. So we have to do this, make our police officers more professional, train them. DPA will help in this particular effort. We will help free of charge to train thousands of Nigerian police officers on constitutional law and laws relating to the rights of suspects, the protocols and procedures for arrest and detention. It has to involve also other sections or segments of the government. The offices of the Attorney General all over the country, particularly the Federal Attorney General, has to get in here. This notion of people being arrested and nobody knowing of their whereabouts, and families having to be searching from police station to know if their relative is in detention, that has to end. We want a system where anybody arrested will be entered into a database. Upon arrest, a person must be entered into a database. That database will be available at the office of every Attorney General in the nation, State Attorney General, and the Federal Attorney General. So a person who wants to know whether his relative has been arrested by the police, he doesn't need to search from police station to police station or mortuary to mortuary. He will go to the nearest office of the Attorney General, look into the database, determine when his relative was arrested, why he was arrested. All police officers in the country must be compelled to put in writing each time they arrest a person, where they arrested the person, the identity of the person, the offense for which he was arrested, so that we can begin to enforce the constitutional provisions that a person arrested should be charged to court within a certain period of time. What we have today is a dangerous condition that is unsustainable, something we must all seek to change. So that change starts with a call for the abolition of Sars. DPA members, I believe I speak for all of you, based on the mandate you gave to me, to join the world, to join our brothers and sisters, to join other Nigerian citizens in sending a message to the IG of Police and to the Attorney General of Nigeria and to the President of Nigeria, the President of the Senate, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and to the Chief Justices of all the states, and the Chief Judges of all the states, and the Chief Justice of the Federation. We are calling for the abolition of the Sars. Enough of the atrocities that we have heard. Enough of the menace that have been discussed. In abolishing the Sars, you look into the officers, those that are worthy of being kept will be kept. Those found to have crossed the line should be disciplined and dismissed from the force. It is possible for us, let's say this, because I'm going to hear the argument that if you abolish the Sars, then we have no war of fighting armed robbers. It's not true. If you abolish the Sars, you will put in place something else, something more robust, something more professional, something more disciplined, a team of professional law enforcement agents who will go after armed robbers. And then we can fight armed robbery and other serious crimes in a scientific manner. And this is what I believe that the police command wants today. To have a police force that uses the latest technology, the latest methods and procedures worldwide to tackle criminals. The brutal, naked force, the atrocities, and the extreme violence that we've seen caused by the members of Sars must stop. That is my message this weekend. Interestingly, I'm giving this message on a day that marks International Human Rights. It's not a coincidence that I did it today because I could have done it yesterday. I wanted to use this opportunity to express to the world the resolution and determination of the DPA to promote human rights, to seek the well-being and justice of the people, of the citizens of this country, to the extent that we could. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The effort has started. Tomorrow, we are going to start a protest. It's going to be a gentle electronic protest by which we will seek to send messages to the IG of Police and the DIG of Police and the AIG of Police all over the country, expressing our quest and our demand for the abolition of Sars. Thank you very much. God bless.